For wild animals, life is all about survival. And in this battle for their own place in the natural world, each has adapted in amazing ways, evolving unique abilities and anatomical mutations, allowing them to thrive in even the toughest environments. But it's our forests that harbor the planet's greatest abundance of life. These hidden worlds, high up among the trees, provide a home for half of all animals and plants. But living the high life requires a unique set of skills. In the jungle, space can be highly sought after. And every creature faces its own battle for survival. So to stake their claim in this prime location, they must fight if they're to make it to the top of the tree. There are over 3 trillion trees on our planet, each with an individual story to tell. From small forests to the Earth's great jungles, these environments support an immense diversity of iconic species, each built for a life in the canopy. But there are also some more surprising animals that have decided to make their home amongst the trees. The rugged coast of the Snares Islands, New Zealand, home to a very special colony of birds. Snares penguins may be built for a life at sea, but this colony have carved out a unique existence on these forested islands. After a busy day catching fish, this female is on her way back to her nest to feed her young. But this penguin's daily commute is no ordinary journey. The first thing she must overcome is a sheer rock face. Despite having no arms, penguins are surprisingly good climbers. But it's not over yet. Now she must venture into highly unusual territory, especially for a penguin. Her home is hidden deep in the forest. These penguins have established a large colony amongst the trees, where they can find shelter and build their nests. This secret world provides a safe place to raise their young, away from the dangers of the coast. But her journey is still not over. She finds her way through the maze of well-worn paths. remembering every twist and turn. Finally, she's made it. After waddling a kilometre inland, she reaches the forest clearing, where her partner and chick await. After her epic journey, she's finally home. And someone is very pleased to see her. She must make this trip every day for the next few weeks. But it's a small price to pay for this safe haven in the forest. While it may be an unusual environment for a flightless seabird, the trees provide cover for the penguins nesting on the ground. But most forest-dwelling animals have the ability to climb and spend their life high in the branches, moving from tree to tree, a skill that requires some special adaptations. The jungles of the Philippine island of Palawan hide a very unusual-looking creature. This Binturong is on the prowl for food. With his stocky body and small tufted ears, he's also known as a bearcat. But he's not built for life on the forest floor. He's more at home amongst the branches above. Semi-retractable claws make scaling tall trees look easy. He also has a prehensile tail, one of only 2 carnivores in the world with this unusual feature. The tail works like a 5th hand, helping him to grip, balance, and move through the canopy. But his keen sense of smell is what makes canopy living a breeze. He's sniffed out a potential meal. Powerful jaws shred bark easily, revealing the grubs hidden underneath. Fruit, birds, and small rodents are also on the menu. However, he's caught the scent of his favorite snack. Eggs. Long, sensitive whiskers and his natural agility help him to track down treats like this, hidden high up among the branches. In fact, his feet will rarely touch the ground. The Binturong's anatomy and dexterity make him perfectly adapted to life in the canopy. While Binturongs choose to stay in their trees high up above the forest floor, for the tree-dwelling animals here in Cambodia, seasonal flooding makes moving around almost impossible. But not for one of the largest species of snake in the world. The Burmese python. Fully grown, they can reach lengths of over 7 meters and weigh in at over 130 kilos. Every Burmese python starts their life in the canopy. Without the food and protection the trees provide, it stands little chance of making it to adulthood. But once grown, they become lethal ambush predators. It has an incredible sense of smell and uses chemical receptors in his tongue to detect the scent of his victim. It can even determine their exact location by using heat sensors in his jaw. He is a perfectly adapted hunter for tree life. But there is one thing that could stand in his way. Cambodia's annual monsoon floods the forest floor for weeks at a time. With no prey in his vicinity, he needs to move to another tree. Luckily, he has a trick up his sleeve. But there is only so long he can swim before he will need to rest. At full flood, he faces vast stretches of open water. Without land, he risks drowning. Fortunately, where there is water, there are fish. And also fishermen. The snake has spotted a potential lifeline. But he must be careful. Snakes are hunted in this area. The sneaky snake has found a spot to rest. And he can hitch a ride to the nearest tree. The python may have been helped by man on this occasion. But our impact on the planet's rarest forest species has been devastating. Especially in a country with Asia's fastest growing population. India is now home to over 1 billion people. As its cities grow, and agricultural land spreads ever further, many of its forests are being replaced by plantations. Bad news for the animals who call them home. Including the lion-tailed macaque. These primates live in troops of up to 20 individuals. And this family have recently welcomed a new addition. A baby female. She will stay with the troop all her life, fitting into the hierarchy as she gets older. But it's very different for the male offspring. This young male will eventually have to break away from his family and join a bachelor group. But with the forests becoming ever more fragmented, finding his own patch is only going to get harder. He's already showing signs of independence, investigating every nook and cranny in the canopy for things to eat. Tree bark can hide nutritious insects, and he's learning which trees provide the tastiest fruits. He'll even eat a young squirrel if he comes across an unguarded nest. The forest should provide him with everything he'll need. A more experienced bachelor male is one step ahead of him, and he has already found a good meal. But there is a problem. He is lower down in this hierarchy, so he must quickly gather as much food as possible before a more dominant member arrives. Luckily, his extendable cheek patches can hold as much food as his stomach. So this bachelor can enjoy his meal in peace. Negotiating the strict hierarchy of macaque society can be tough. But it's a useful lesson the young male will have to learn. As long as this forest remains untouched, these trees will provide him and the other macaques with everything they need. Forests cover a third of all land. They are vital to the health of our entire planet, regulating our climate and creating much of the oxygen that all species need to breathe. However, some creatures go even further, not just relying on trees, but living inside them. In the depths of the Indonesian island of Sulawesi lives one very unusual bird, unique to this area. The knobbed hornbill. This male is not alone. Just a few meters away is his mate. However, she's carefully hidden out of sight, locked away inside the cavity of this tree. She voluntarily hopped inside, then sealed the entrance with a clay-like mixture made of food, feces, and feathers. And it's all in the name of safety. Sharing this small space are her two chicks. Thanks to its tiny entrance, the nest is inaccessible to predators, but it means the female is completely reliant on her partner. Dutifully, he finds and regurgitates food for her. Figs are their staple diet. He flies off to find more for his growing family, covering up to 15 kilometers to find the ripest fruit. Year after year, the pair will return to this area of forest and even the same tree to raise more chicks. Hornbills build a fortress in the trunk to defend their family. But other animals use trees for another form of protection. The forests of Madagascar, home to a diverse range of wildlife. In this highly competitive world, survival requires some extraordinary skills. So the island's creatures have evolved a wide range of defense tactics. But there's one that is almost impossible to spot. The leaf-tailed gecko. This reptile can sit completely motionless all day. They even choose their own tree to match their unique coloration. They've evolved rough skin around their bodies to help hide their outline. And despite growing to almost 30 centimeters long, they're true masters of camouflage. Even the most perceptive of hunters, like this cat-eyed snake, has their work cut out spotting this undercover creature. He can hide in plain sight. And let the snake just pass right by. For leaf-tailed geckos, blending into the forest in which they live offers them the ultimate protection from predators. But trees can also provide advantages for animals looking for love. Being high up offers an aerial advantage. And another of Madagascar's unique species uses the branches to help select a mate. It's early evening, and the island's top predator is on the prowl. This male Fossa is on the hunt for his favorite prey. Lemurs. But food isn't the only thing on his mind. It's mating season. And when it comes to the dating game, the female of this species can play hard to get. This female Fossa has positioned herself high above the forest floor 15 meters up. She's chosen a branch that will not only support her own weight, but also that of a male. If she approves of him, she will allow him to approach. But if he doesn't meet her standards, she will back away to a weaker branch, and he won't be able to reach her. She's fertile for just a few days a year, and will attract many male admirers each day. So she needs a method to help sort the men from the boys. The female Fossa uses the threat of falling from these high branches to help select her mate. But the male of another tree-dwelling species have no such fear of heights. In fact, here, in the steamy forests of Central America, one old romantic actively hurls himself from the treetops, all in the name of love. It's rainy season, and as things are hotting up, this male gliding tree frog takes a leap of faith. As he falls, his huge webbed feet act as a parachute, slowing his descent. He's waited for heavy rains before coming down from the canopy. And he's here for just one reason: to breed. But he's not the only one hoping to find a mate. Gliding tree frogs use the safety of darkness to congregate on the forest floor. Once on the ground, the males begin to serenade the hiding females. Now it's their turn to make a move. This female has a lot of choice. But she's heading towards the noisiest call, because loud calls come from big frogs. Big is best in the amphibian world, but to reach him, she must make it past a gang of smaller frogs eager to mate. Their only chance is to make a sneaky interception. But none succeed. She's made it to the largest frog. And now, he needs to prove his worth. Tree frogs only leave the safety of the branches when it's time to breed. But another species spends its entire life in the canopy, feeding, fighting, and mating, all high above the ground. This rare species of primate lives in the forest of northeast India. The golden langur. These tree dwellers live in tightly knit social groups. Their breeding season runs year-round, but females give birth to just a single baby, contributing to their status as one of India's most endangered mammals. These langurs spend their whole life in the trees and will rarely set foot on the ground. All the food they need can be found in the canopy, with mature leaves and fresh buds making up the majority of their diet. And most of their water comes from dew and rain-soaked leaves. However, despite the abundance of snacks, competition over feeding is rife. Minor disagreements can soon get out of hand. But golden langurs usually opt for flight, not fight, and simply leap away. Langurs are one of the few primates to have all but lost their thumbs. An evolutionary adaptation to help when swinging through the trees. They also have a long tail, which enhances balance and makes escaping a quarrel a far easier task. But when the fighting comes to an end, they have a very gentle way of making up. Grooming is one of their favorite pastimes. And it isn't always done alone. They often rummage through each other's fur to enforce social bonds and relieve stress. While these langurs never leave their treetop home, another primate on this remote Asian archipelago has had to evolve some clever tricks to survive in a very different kind of forest. Mangroves line the Philippine coast, growing in one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth. This unique group of trees and shrubs are true survivors. With their roots submerged in salt water, they keep one foot on land and another in the sea. While the salinity here would be enough to kill most plants, mangroves thrive in this poorly aerated soil. Special adaptations help them survive. Rather than breathing through the soil, mangrove roots rise above the ground, taking oxygen directly from the air. This vast network of aerial roots also provides structural support. Over time, they trap sediment as it flows out to sea, creating new land and stabilizing the shoreline. These dense forests act as storm breaks, dissipating wave energy and providing a safe haven for young fish and crustaceans. For the most part, the mangrove's inhabitants live happily alongside each other. But there's one species who has learned to capitalize on this strange environment. Philippine long-tailed macaques rule the mangroves. This troop has over 60 individuals. Each monkey sports an extraordinarily lengthy tail, longer than they are tall. These primates have had to adapt to survive in this unusual, semi-submerged forest. Rather than staying high in the canopy as they might elsewhere, they feed on fallen fruits buried in the mud, taking care to avoid the jagged mangrove roots. But at low tide, their appetites change, and they become crab eaters. Sifting through the mud, this adult seeks out her prey. She knows from experience that this meal can fight back. But it's worth the risk. This youngster decides it's his turn. But he's got to work on his confidence. And rightly so. It's a tricky skill to master. For now, a seed will have to suffice. These resourceful primates have found a way to make the most of what this unique forest has to offer. And once his crab hunting technique is mastered, there's plenty here in the mangroves for the young macaque to feed on. But in other forests, food is more seasonal, so animals must store away supplies for later. And one iconic tree dweller is notorious for hoarding resources. In the depths of India, high up in the forest, lives one of the largest squirrels in the world. The Malabar giant squirrel. This creature can grow to be half a meter long and weigh up to 3 kilos. This rodent is perfectly adapted to life in the canopy. Its dark color helps it avoid detection, while its long tail acts as a counterweight to help the squirrel balance as it feeds. But perhaps their greatest skill is hoarding seeds. By creating a stash in the treetops, they rarely need to come down to the forest floor. But life up high isn't all about feeding. These squirrels also enjoy more leisurely pursuits, like grooming. This important behavior reinforces family bonds and helps keep parasites away. Perfectly adapted to tree life, squirrels have spread to every continent. But there are also more elusive forest creatures, some of which exist only in the most remote regions on Earth. The foothills of the Himalayas, home to one of the world's most secretive animals. The red panda. No bigger than a domestic cat, this male leads a solitary life. He spends the majority of his day feeding. But like their giant black and white namesakes, red pandas are unable to digest the cellulose found in most plants. So their diet is almost entirely made up of bamboo. These forests, with their understories thick with bamboo, are the only place on Earth where he can survive. However, he can digest just 24% of what he consumes, so he must spend up to 13 hours a day eating to ensure he gets enough nutrients. Once he's had his fill, it's back to the canopy for some important pampering. With fur covering his entire body, this cat-like cleaning is one activity that cannot be rushed. When he's not eating or grooming, there is only one thing that can entice him down from his perch. The promise of a potential mate. Time for a spot of seduction. He lays a trail of scent-marked love messages. But despite his persistence, his efforts are futile. He's missed his chance. Female red pandas are only fertile for one 24-hour window a year. And that's usually at the beginning of spring. He'll just have to hope his visitor passes by a little earlier next year. In the meantime, he's got some important bamboo eating to catch up on. While forests provide a variety of food for many species, it's not always as simple as taking what's on offer. On the other side of the world, in Latin America, lives an animal who relies on intelligence to access the richest pickings. The wetlands of the Pantanal are home to many surprising creatures. Including the largest parrot in the world. The Hyacinth macaw. 3/4 of the world's population live in this area. They thrive here due to one plentiful food source: palm nuts. This large bird feeds almost exclusively on these nuts. But with their tough outer shells, they first need a helping hand to get to the riches inside. Cattle Passing cows partly digest fallen nuts, removing the husks. The birds then claim their prize and crack open the shell. Tough work, even after they've been dehusked. But this parrot is built for the challenge. A third of its muscles are concentrated in its head, so it can power its monstrous mandibles to break open the nut. Once brute force has cracked the shell, this highly intelligent parrot uses its powerful tongue to dig out the precious kernels inside. It takes a little patience. But eventually, it succeeds. Thanks to their intelligence and determination, the parrots make the most of the Pantanal's palm nuts. To thrive in our planet's forests and jungles, animals have adapted to a life in the trees. Using incredible agility, amazing senses, and some very clever thinking, these species have overcome the unique challenges of their environment. In this secret world, the rarest, strangest, and the most unexpected creatures make their home, creating a habitat that supports more life than anywhere else on Earth.